this thing that we are talking about is actually being able to code, understanding API, how the authentication works. It's not just building workflows and automation. This is actually building the integration. So it's a whole different set of skill that that person needs to have. So if you don't know anything about coding and those kind of things, you definitely don't know the question that you need to ask. So I would suggest finding someone that knows a little bit on about how actually these things works, how they can talk to each other. There are a couple of them, expert ones, engineer ones in the community that you can ask. But once you gather that, then you might be able to find a certified admin with the engineering background that can help you build the integration as well, along with like, hey, we want this type of automation too.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of our high-level podcast spotlight sessions, where we bring subject matter experts and members of our high-level community who are users that use our software every day to you on our platform here to share their stories, to inspire, and to help you take full control of your high-level journey. I want to introduce you to a gentleman here that you may or may not yet be aware of. His name is Mr. Siavash Abbasalipour. He's Australia's high-level pioneer and better known in the community as Sia. And although he may be familiar or he's brand new to you, he is the first Australian to earn the high-level admin certification. Siavash, better known as Sia, brings over a decade of experience. And I just want to throw some things at you here because it takes a special human being to jump into our certification program. And just to give you some context, he was an Apple software engineer specializing in custom AI, automation, and API integrations with the focus on innovative solutions. And he then decided to go all in on the custom high-level snapshot opportunity that became available and became an expert at optimizing workflows and helping others in our business community. As a dedicated high-level user and neighbor in our community, he always shares insights on his YouTube, his TikTok. If you haven't seen him on Udemy or in the high-level communities, he's someone great to chat with and get to know. Siavash, welcome, man. It's great to have you here.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
Yeah, and we
Great.
actually got to meet personally together at our advanced mastermind back in July of this year.
Yeah,
And it was
yeah,
pretty neat because you had traveled from Australia. Like, you live in Australia,
yeah, yeah.
right?
It's a
And
long
you
flight.
it's a long flight, and the snacks, the dinner, the breakfast, or whatever must be great. But we're thankful. We're thankful for you
Thank
and
you.
for those that are on this path similar to you to go all in on high level and to really commit to adjusting the hours, the lifestyle, and the way of doing business. So appreciate you. It's an honor to have you here. To our audience here, help me give a warm high level welcome to Siavash in the comments below. We put together a topic here that we work together on to craft so we can give you a deep dive into an important part that you may come across into the next couple of months as high level evolves and more people become aware of the opportunity. So we put together an episode around a key challenge. And that key challenge is for SaaS providers. How do they get more people to say yes to their offer by integrating instead of taking on the heavy lifting of ripping everything out or replacing it? And Siavash, with his expertise and us just kind of workshopping here, what would be best for the community at all levels? We've put together three important talking points that we want to take home with you today. The first one is why integration is the key to adoption. The second is the technical blueprint for seamless integration. And the third is using integration to enhance client retention and growth. So much to unpack here in the next 45 minutes. And there may be one, two, or a bunch of things here that you grab and you take action on. But the key thing to remember here is that we have a subject matter expert from our community, in our community, sharing his views and insights that he sees every day with clients in and outside planning on to use HighLevel. Siavash, to kick things off, would you mind answering this question? And if I throw you off with the personal question, please excuse me here. But what did you see in our HighLevel community that made you go all in on learning and getting certified as the first Australian?
Uh, well, first of all, obviously, I've been in the community for a while before taking the leap and going to the course. One of the things I really love about this community is openness and everyone sharing details. But at the same time, it's online, so everyone can come and say, "Hey, I'm an expert," and there's kind of like no way to figure out if this person is actually know what they're talking about. That was one of the thing, and the other one down here in Australia, anything that we want to get access to is in US time, and it's either going to be midnight or like weird hours, those kind of things. And it was really hard for Australian community to basically find an Australian that is certified and like from HighLevel. They said, okay, this person is certified. It is in literally your city, your country, same time zone, easier to get access to. And that's why I was like, okay, let's just make this official. And then once I started the course was pretty amazing. Like honestly, you guys put something together pretty amazing because it's a big software and I've dealt with a ton of software, but there is a lot going on. But the way that you structured the course was pretty good, pretty nice, easy to understand. So yeah, I think I just wanted to have that expertise within our region, so be more accessible to Australian.
Yeah, I appreciate
So
you
that's it.
sharing
Yeah.
sharing that. And thank you for the compliment. There's a whole separate department and group of experts that go all in on this experience, and you got to work with them directly as you were going through your process, and you know exactly, you know, there are so many, unadvertised heroes in that whole part of the ecosystem. And the
Yeah.
great news is that it's the byproduct of folks like you that trust and then take action and then show that this is the right decision to make. So thank you for that. On a more personal level, Sivash, could you share a little bit about what keeps you excited about the technical aspect of what you do every day?
I think what as a software engineer, what we really like is being able to have access to things and be able to openly ask for things that, hey, can we have this? Can we play with this? Can we do this? And having a software company like in this day and age with the speed that everything is moving along and like the amount of features that you guys put out, uh, honestly, at first I was kind of hesitant because it's really hard to find a platform that is going to do a lot of stuff and be good at it. Because usually it's like, okay, you find a platform, it's good for like appointment setting, it's good for messaging. You can have something that does everything and does everything great without breaking things. So from the technical point of view, that was kind of like, oh, okay, this is pretty good. It is fast. Yeah, things can break, but they listen. That's one of the most important thing because when you're dealing with a software company that big, it's really hard to actually be able to get in touch, let alone having like the founders on Facebook group asking or answering questions and feature. That's like I've never seen that before. It's kind of you feel like you belong and you kind of like not just the user, if that makes sense. Uh, be able to do things and have actually people responsible for the software listen to you and take into consideration that okay, that makes sense. We can look into it, or we have already looked into it and we're going to do this. So that's a huge plus because that opens up a lot of opportunity because there's going to be ton of more engineer with different perspective that can look at the software and use it in another way to make things better or smoother for other businesses or other niches. So yeah, I would say that.
Absolutely. And it looks like our audience that's tuning in is answering the question too, because this is a question that resonates with a lot of people. This community is very unique. This is something that I have not seen personally elsewhere, where people are really all in, and they could be a little rough around the edges. They could be a little too direct, or they could be very helpful or giving, like almost like, what's the catch? You're giving me like everything for nothing. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's pretty neat to see that myself. But for you, it sounds like that relationship from an engineer perspective, a certified admin, a user is a nice, well-rounded experience that you've had. And I want to
Yeah.
jump into our topic here as we get into selling and positioning this. And I want to gear this towards all level of users. And one of the biggest topics or questions or feedback I receive is most people that I come across with JB, they have something in place already. So, they're in a contract, they're locked in, their company is bigger, they require this software that has these components that we don't have. We don't have widgets or apps that they do. It's not a specialist, it's more of a generalist compared to what they're using, or
Yeah.
they're not prepared to pull the plug on anything. And that's where that magic word integration comes in. So I want us to jump into the first topic that we have set up today, which is why integration is the key to either earn their business or to keep them using our software outside of somebody selling them something else that maybe has a specialist touch to it, that maybe HighLevel is not capable or it's not designed for per se. So can we unpack that from your subject matter expertise from what you see every day?
Yeah. Well, as you said, like pretty much most of the businesses that are semi-established or have been in business for a couple of years, they already have some sort of a platform or software that they use, whether it be like a field software for like contractors and those kind of things, whether it be like a practice management software for clinics, your physio, your chiro, they all have some sort of a thing to do like payments, appointments, uh some sort of communication. But the thing is, the way that you want to look at it is like you don't want to go ahead and say, hey, you're paying like, I don't know, $1,000 for this software. Why not come and use mine that is 97 per month? Because selling it in here is not about the price. The thing that they have, they're used to it. They have all of their staff trained on it. They know how it works. They know ins and out of it, and they don't want to change it. So, and what you need to do is be able to leverage what they have and add on the things that they need without asking them to do anything or learn anything. That is the golden thing that you can add to their business. Like when I started going and selling to them, I the thing was, hey, you don't need to learn anything, you don't need to change anything. These are the pain points that you have, and we're gonna solve it for you without you noticing anything. That's how you can actually leverage that integration, the powerful integration that you can make with HighLevel. Does that make
Uh,
sense?
It
We can
does.
get into
And
like some yeah,
yeah,
examples as well, but yeah.
yep. And for our audience here that's tuning in, definitely chime in below. I'll try to grab as much as I can as we're going with this range of motion here of the conversation. But so, if we're coming across a high level user that's looking to work with pest control companies. So let's say there's a handful of softwares out there that a majority of the pest control companies are using, and it's because, to your point, field management, all these things, but it's missing the sales machine portion of it.
Exactly.
How or how would you recommend to position HighLevel as HighLevel in the gray labeled or white labeled, whether it's an affiliate or complete white label? How would you recommend positioning that sales machine and integrate it with the field software? Where should someone start to set fair expectations and not bring on this extra labor of love that can't be fulfilled?
Yeah. So for that example or any type of example, when you look at it, so you go and look at the, let's say that pest control software that they have, and because you know what HighLevel has, and when you look at their system, you see that okay, the first thing that is missing is, for example, they don't have a pipeline to see okay where the money or the where the funnel is actually moving. For most of the businesses, that is a huge thing. So you can simply go ahead and say, hey, we can give you a dashboard that you open up on your website, and every day you can actually see how many, let's say they're running Facebook ads and Google, you can see how many leads or customers you're actually bringing from your Facebook, how many you're bringing from Google, and at the end of the month, with our software, without you doing anything, you can see what was the conversion value for each of those platforms. So you can adjust and say, okay, Facebook is doing way better for me, so I'm not going to spend on Google. I'm going to inject more in Facebook. And we give this to you on a dashboard. You don't need to do anything. We plug it in, and you don't need to learn anything new. You just open it up and have a look. That would be one way of selling it. And
And
and the thing that I've noticed, the thing that I've noticed is as soon as you tell them that we are not changing any of your stuff, we are not touching any of your system, you don't need to learn anything, it becomes a way easier conversation to get them to say yes. Because you're basically removing everything from their hand. It's like you don't need to touch anything, you don't need to do anything. I'll bring this for you. I'll hook it up, pretty much.
yeah, and this is also, to your point, right? Whether it's you knowing the knowledge or having a team or
Yes,
contracting with someone like yourself to fulfill on those obligations, obviously
yes,
understanding the industry you're going after, doing some research about the software that you're going to,
yes,
be speaking on, and,
yes.
where the sales machine fits into that process. So that's for service businesses. When it comes to, like, let's say chiropractors, med spas, or physical therapists, they have a lot of times they're HIPAA compliant, their EMRs, their whole process kind of system set up, very hard to unplug.
Oh,
How
yeah.
can,
There's
in
no
your
way. Yeah.
experience, yeah, I mean it's literally like moving Mount Rushmore. How do you find, in your experience, you managing that and the expectations and how your white label or gray label fits into their ecosystem? Could you give us an example or some lyrics that maybe you would use for a health professional?
Yeah, that's actually one of the niches that I've been working on for a while, health and wellness. And they are, yeah, obviously they're not going to change their platform. Like there's no way. And obviously HighLevel is not an EMR. So if someone out there is trying to make it an EMR and just sell it, it's just like you're putting too much effort. It's going to be very hard to sell it. So the way that we do it is, again, first, as you mentioned, you gotta understand the platform that you're trying to integrate with to see what it already has, what type of integration it already has, and do a little bit of research and see, okay, what is missing. So most of these platforms, for example, when I look at like Clinical, MindBody, Jane, whatever, uh, they're all very good at clinic notes, appointments, payments, and those kind of things. But the other side of the clinics that is very important is retention, reputation, and referral. Pretty much none of them has any of these built-in automation. The best you can get, they give you an integration with MailChimp that everyone hates, and maybe some sort of an SMS reminder, which nowadays it's nothing. Uh, So depending on the platform, you can basically set them up on a high level, obviously a HIPAA compliant high level. And depending on the way that you want to go to do the integration, whether you build the code or you do like third party, like Pabbly, Zapier, or those kind of things, you need to be careful because again, it's HIPAA compliant. So usually for those, we use Google Cloud and we code it and we do the HIPAA compliant around that. So nothing actually goes out. Um, and then you need to build a system. So, for example, let's say you go and say, hey, we're going to do some reactivation, retention, and reputation for you on the back of your practice management software, and you don't need to do anything. You hooked up the HighLevel API to, let's say, that Jane API or whatever the platform is, and you start syncing the data. And usually from those platforms, you get uh, pretty much all the appointments information, dates and time and stuff, which is going to be helpful for your automation. So all you do once you link that up, you just build up those automation. And depending on the clinic, some of them they want to see how the platform works, some of them they don't care as long as it works. So it's become an extension And it's become very sticky because now once they start seeing that, oh, I got like 10 no-shows this month, and because of this system, five of them book again. Otherwise, I would have been kind of like lost them. Now they can see, okay, this is extra value. I'm not doing anything, and I'm just paying whatever amount of dollar per month to this company. And the way that you want to look at it, if you're, let's say, a marketing agency compared to like a software or a SaaS agency, this is way less headache because once you set it up, and it's going to take like 5-10 minutes to just hook things up. That's it. It's like having an iTunes subscription. How many times you go and like support iTunes and send them an email, hey, fix that, fix this. Nothing. It's just basically monthly recurring revenue coming in, and you're not going to get any email or phone call.
Yeah. And the only time I complain about it is when the subscription auto renews and I forgot to cancel it. I try to grab as many
Exactly.
freebies as
Yeah.
you can every once in a while. You try to keep your options open, but it's a very good point.
Yeah.
Has been a lot easier to
Yeah.
get assistance on, where before it was very hard. And you brought up a
Yes.
lot of great points. Putting yourself in your consumer shoes on what you expect, or what you enjoy experiencing in your day to day, how we forget about things, our reminders. I switched from one doctor to another because of the reminders, but also because their expectation. Like, you expect, if I'm going to wait in a waiting room and I'm going to pay a premium, and there's these different processes that years ago we didn't think about, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm more aware of. You have to earn your dollar too, as much as you're taking my time. And there's
Yeah.
an
Exactly.
expectation of the consumer that says you got to do your part. And from what I'm hearing on how you're explaining this to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, their EMR, their system is their registry. It's something that is very hard because there's a lot of rules, regulations, insurance connectivity on there, depending on the type of
Yes.
business they are. But if we take the sales machine component, what you're sharing is that there's many components that these softwares don't have, that once you connect it, it's almost like a set it and forget it, and you're just looking out for any disconnects that may happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Amazing. Now, when it comes to when it comes to targeting, or creating a list of maybe softwares, or what's what lemon's worth, how much of the lemon is worth the squeeze, what's the right apple to bite into here? How do you
So,
go about to really determine where to start? And again, we're not looking to take business away from other businesses. We're looking to stay competitive.
yeah.
We're looking to help people that they have software that they don't even use, but they pay for. They're looking for results.
Yeah.
How do we
Yeah.
create that
Exactly.
list?
Uh, well, the first thing, the way that I look at it is, let's say I'm looking for clinic softwares, and I pick up a specific type of practitioner. Usually, like if let's say I want to go with chiros, physio, and podiatrist, they're very similar in like the type of platform that they use. And then there are websites, like for example, one of them is built with it, that you can actually search, and it shows you the number of websites that using that technology. So for example, you type in an EMR, and it shows you the trend. It says, okay, this is like the second biggest in North America, or this is the biggest in US, this is the biggest in Australia. It shows you, and usually uh, each country, they have kind of their own preferred type of like EMR. So for example, physio and chiros, the one that we use in Australia and UK and New Zealand, you barely find anyone in US and Canada using it, and vice versa. So you want to do a little bit of research because you don't want to go and build something that there's not many people using it. And you also want to see what that software is already providing, because nowadays, specifically the newer EMRs, they're trying to be everything. They're trying to have their own marketing. Hey, this is where you can build your website and those kind of things. But as I said, you can't be everything and be good at everything. So you want to do a little bit of research, and to see uh, which one is the most used, what do they offer, and what they don't have. Most of them usually have a free trial that you can actually sign up and have a look and see what they provide. And it also gives you a little bit of a sneak peek to their community, so you can actually go and look at the feedback request, feature request of the actual practitioners that are using that software. So it gives you a feeling of like, oh, there's a lot of people that are asking like, why don't we have like review, asking automatically for review, or why don't we have this? So this gives you kind of an idea like, okay, these are the things that are missing and I can bring it in easily with HighLevel. So this is how I kind of like look at it.
You're giving the goods, and I appreciate it. Thank you for giving the sales portion of this. You know, I always try to remind myself when we do these interviews, what would I be looking for if I was in the shoes of a listener? I'm looking for something that I could take action with, something that I could, if I had
Yeah,
to get off this recording now, and replay it later, what would I look for? What would I if I listen to it and I watch the transcript, what would I
yeah,
grab? And you gave something really powerful here from a sales component. And there's enough of an addressable market that I could tell the abundance that you've shared. And I want to make sure everyone grasped it right now. But you basically said your strategy is you go to build with it. You look at the softwares. You're starting with country region first, because a lot of people will not use a software from another country or region. There's this popularity. There's these trends. There's these industries within the fields that there's like the top three or four, right? And I
yeah,
appreciate you sharing that. And then the free trial portion of like just going into the community and reverse engineering the feedback, the reviews, those are the clues of where you could bolt on. See, what's really great about this episode is that we're saying bolt on. Don't try to rip it out. Bolt on
yeah,
to it. Empower it. More than anything, you might end up on an integration list of that software because they don't want to deal with what you're offering. So having the
exactly.
abundance mindset and the strategic mindset versus I want to steal quote unquote customers. Powerful, 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 powerful on that note. And when it comes to the what to look for and how to look for it, right? That comes with practice. So let's talk about here, if you're okay with just as we tie up this integration part, for someone that doesn't is not techie, is not excited about maybe integration or coding or faking it till they make it, right? There's a lot of people that are just like black and
Yeah,
white. Look, I'm in sales, I'm in strategy, I'm not gonna pretend to be a techie. What are some
yeah.
ways that they could still be themselves, but also show that they have the resources to handle this?
Yeah, so my first thing is always like, oh, even if you're not a techie person, you want to know enough that you can be not dangerous, but asking the right questions when you hire someone. So you definitely want to like when you go and say, okay, I want to find someone to build an integration with this platform, you know enough about that platform, what it provides, and kind of like what it has, and how you can actually seeing it in your head, how it can actually map and integrate with HighLevel. Then you can go out and find solution. So usually we have two type of solution. One of them we call it low code. Some of you might have heard about it, like using integration platforms like Zapier, Pabbly, or Make, and those kind of things. That requires less coding, but at the same time, it's not scalable because it's gonna cost every time that you basically do any action, and it's different from like actually implementing and coding it, which kind of like reminds me of something else. Because the way that you want to look at it as well, whether you are an agency and you just want to build this integration for your own client, there is another way making money out of it as well. You can put it on the marketplace, and then again, abundance mindset. There might be tons of other agencies that they have similar clients to you, and they're not going to go do this whole thing to build this whole thing up. They're like, okay, what is the subscription? Give it to me. I'm going to connect it to my thing. Now you have two source of income. So again, there are very different ways of selling it, and yeah, you never know. Maybe you get big enough on that specific platform that you end up on the integration list of that software. And now every clients that they have, when they go to the integration list and they see high levels, go, okay, click, you get paid for it.
And
So
and
yeah.
and as my wheels are spinning right now, and I purposely have to press the unmute button, like the space bar, because I'll just interrupt you without even realizing it. So bear with me if there's a
That's
little
right.
delay here, man. But I gotta put this mechanism in place because I'll just go on. Um,
That's all right.
and after a while, if the finger starts turning blue, I know that I'm talking too much. So this is a nice balance here. But so what I'm thinking from a sales perspective, with what you've shared with me, I pick one or two platforms. Maybe they're competing against each other. They're competitors with each other. I'm looking at where they're dominant at. I'm going with the built with. I'm joining the communities. I'm maybe doing some betas, some having some conversations, and I get one or two that end up doing business with me, and now they end up referring me to everyone. They talk about me while I'm not even present. And I'm thinking,
Yeah.
holy smokes, that's powerful in itself. That's a whole other lead source that's self-generating.
Yeah.
At what point do you say, I need to bring on an expert on staff, or could you give us some best practices? And let's just use you as the example. Let's say you, as the certified admin, need to bring on another certified admin to help this fulfillment. What are some things you look at when bringing on somebody from the ecosystem to partner with you, whether it's on a commission, whether it's on a percentage, whatever it is? What are some things you're looking for to make sure you're not putting your eggs in the wrong basket?
Uh, I think one of the most important thing that I look for is, first of all, if they are qualified for that job. So, uh, this thing that we are talking about is actually being able to code, understanding API, how the authentication works. It's not just building workflows and automation. This is actually building the integration. So it's a whole different set of skill that that person needs to have. So if you don't know anything about coding and those kind of things, you definitely don't know the question that you need to ask. So I would suggest finding someone that knows a little bit on about how actually these things works, how they can talk to each other. There are a couple of them, expert ones, engineer ones in the community that you can ask. But once you gather that, then you might be able to find a certified admin with the engineering background that can help you build the integration as well, along with like, hey, we want this type of automation too. And the good thing about it is like once it's built, it's going to be just maintenance and adding features. So it's not going to be a whole lot of work basically. It's
Yeah,
going to
because
be easy,
as
stable thing.
as I'm imagining how fast this can move, it just takes three or four customers to come on board at the setup fee, a monthly recurring revenue. I mean, this stuff can go pretty quickly. There's a demand out there. More and
Yeah,
more
yeah,
people are open and understand they need some technology in there to replace
yeah.
or to complement what they have. So that leads us into our second important topic here, which is the technical blueprint for seamless integration. And I know there's so much ways to explore how the APIs, the webhooks, the workflows, and making it all work smooth. I was hoping if you could unpack an introduction to that mindset from your expertise on where do we begin with APIs? Where do we begin with webhooks? What does it mean to get a zap versus a make? Like there's so much
Yeah,
technical jargon, and again, it's
yeah,
being like a specialist or a surgeon in the
yeah,
technical field. Help us
yeah,
understand this journey.
yeah, sure. Uh, First thing, always start with the simplest, easiest thing. So once you find out the platform that you want to integrate with and couple of features that you think that you can integrate with, find the simplest one. For example, let's say you find a platform that once an appointment is done, you want to automatically send the uh, review, ask for review. So this is a simple one API action. Now, what you need to do is, because there's two different platforms, you got your original platform that things are happening, and then you got your high level platform. And the way that these two talks to each other is what we call API, application programming interface. Now, what you need to do is you got to go to your origin platform and see what they provide. Sometimes they might not provide the API that you want straight away. You might need to call a bunch of API to get to that. Oh, the appointment is finished, something like that. Sometimes they have a webhook that every time that appointment's finished, it pushes an event. So depending on your origin platform, you figure out what you need to look for. And then in high level, you just need to inject that thing in. Now, in order to make these two talk, again, you can either use something like Zapier or Make, which basically can sit in between. And when something from the origin platform happens, they can capture it and they can push it to high level. Or you can build this middle thing yourself. So you keep most of the profit.
When it comes to high level and the premium connections that are there, what
Yes.
point is something not really at the moment able to be done through those premium connections where you would need to go to Zapier or Make? Is there a reason that you would go a certain direction, or is it personal preference? How do you really determine
Mm,
from direct API to, I guess, this middleman program or process
yeah.
to webhook?
Yeah. So yeah, you brought a good point because the custom webhooks actually can replace Zapier, Pabbly, and those kind of things. The only reason that someone don't want to use that and want to use Pabbly and Make is, I would say, it might be that Pabbly or Zapier or Make already have an application for that origin that makes it easier for someone that is not techie to understand. So instead of like dealing with the code and API calls, it will say, hey, appointment's done, and then feed it back. Because when you're using the custom webhooks, you need to know how to read JSONs and those kind of things, compared to like if or Make already has that app built in. It makes it just easier for someone
Yeah,
that is not techie. Yeah,
yeah.
that
So
that that would be the only thing.
got it. So that package, it does it has all the legwork in the box already for you. You're just kind
Yeah,
of connecting the dots.
yeah. It
Understood.
translated in a more human way than like a code way.
Yeah, and for those that are more advanced users, thank you for just being patient with us as we unpack some of this. We have a handful of different users at different levels that have been thinking about getting involved with this, maybe looking to hire somebody, or really maybe this just serves as just a checkup from the neck up from you that you're not in the wrong direction, right? Because there's so many different avenues, and I've been in conversations where people are like, well, do we go API? Do we go webhook? Do we go Zap? Do we go Make? Do we go? And I'm like, what? Like it's like, hold up, I just want this, but there's a process to get there. So appreciate you kind of giving us this crash course on that. When it comes to the examples of integrating high level with these platforms from a biz op to an automated process, could you unpack some of that on what does a before and after potentially look like when done right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So usually, so let's go with the same example. Let's say we want to send an automatic ask for review as soon as an appointment is finished. So the way that it's going to work is when the origin app an appointment finishes, we have our app or Make or whatever you want to call it that captures that information. The information within the API, the way that they move around, we call them JSON, SOP objects, which is pretty much like the custom objects that you've seen that high level release recently. It's a bunch of data for that specific uh, API call. So let's say this is a patient. It gives you the contact details of the patient, which means it has the email, first name, last name, phone number. These are the things that it can map and uniquely identify in HighLevel. And then it will give you an end date for the appointment. So that comes through our platform. By our platform, I mean the integration one. We translate those fields into contact fields that we have in HighLevel. So let's say we have the contact information, email, and those kind of things. And we have some custom fields specifically to map these things, like when the appointment finished, when the appointment started, and those kind of things. What was the service? How much the service cost? So we have those custom fields and we map them. Once they got mapped, you can have an automation, a workflow that gets triggered on a contact update or contact created, because what we are technically doing is pushing a contact information to HighLevel. And once that gets pushed, because we have that automation and workflow, it will automatically get triggered. Now we are doing the automatic automation part that look at, oh, this patient's last appointment time was yesterday. Now it's time to ask them for give us a review. It automatically send the SMS, email, or just basically start the review process. So that's how it works, the flow of the data.
Yeah. And as I'm thinking about this from the most basic perspective, non-techie, I'm thinking my number one goal is to get the information into HighLevel and the information matching,
Yes,
whether it's the custom objects or the custom values or the sections within that platform that they're part of, mirror that in our platform so it speaks,
yes,
and then have that
yes,
listing of this is the high level, I guess, term or coding word or
yeah,
naming convention, and this is, let's say, the mind and body naming convention, and somewhere having like
yes,
that whole list of I know what is what.
yes, exactly. Do the mapping. Yes.
Sweet. Yeah, the mapping. Thank you for that. Absolutely. Um, yeah, I mean, a lot to unpack on that, and health.go high level goes in depth on it. We have the what is your experience with the new API version of high level? Have you had an opportunity of consulting or guiding anybody with some of those
Yeah.
potential right transitions?
Yeah. Well, it's honestly it's pretty good. The OAuth 2, and also for those people that are scared of like coding and OAuth 2 and those kind of things, there are other ways of doing the connection, because we have that private integration key. If you haven't seen it in your HighLevel, there is a section in the settings, private integration key, that replace the whole OAuth thing. So you can basically create a key with specific scopes that says, hey, this key only allows to look at my contacts and create a new contact and those kind of things. And having that key, you can simply start using the HighLevel API. You don't need to do any what we call OAuth 2.0 for authentication. This is for those people that they don't want to go down that route. And just pretty much you can do everything. That's one of the other thing that I love about this HighLevel API. It's like it's very, very open. It's a pure
Mm,
white label thing. You can basically do whatever you want with the API.
crazy, right?
Yeah,
What?
it's very good. It's very good. Yeah.
Awesome. So, as we've unpacked a lot here, as we get into our third topic, which is, using this wealth of information around, APIs, webhooks, integrations. Now it's how do we leverage this to enhance our retention of our clients, to get referrals, or to bring on new business to bolt on top of their software? Could you help us understand how to either position or talk about the stickiness of this? How does this help with internal teams of a company to reduce churn? So, we have a lot of high-level users, businesses that have hundreds of employees, right? They have hundreds of thousands of accounts. It's nearly impossible to babysit and be in touch with everybody. So, almost having processes to work the masses is so important to keep the stickiness and the happiness going of our customers. Could you unpack how this integration starts to give us the green light versus the yellow and red?
Yeah. Uh, so I one of the main things that I kind of like learned as building this integration and giving it either whether you wanted to do business to business, like selling it to other agencies, or just selling it to uh, a customer or client, uh, you want to have it as seamless as possible. So basically, you want to basically think of your client or even the agency owner that says they know high level, think of them as someone that they don't know anything. And I don't even ask them to install a snapshot, add a custom field, nothing, because all of those can kind of like be a barrier. So you want to remove all of those. So basically, what I asked them to do is like, hey, give me your information. And I even get their high level information like location ID and those kind of things that we need for API automatically filled up within the custom menu link that I give to them, so they don't even need to go and copy and paste. So you want to make it extremely seamless that they just put in their credit card, they fill up their information, and everything magically gonna start working. So it might take some time depending on the platform that you're playing with, your origin platform and those kind of things. But always think about, hey, how can I remove all the barriers that as soon as they fill up the form and hit submit, everything's going to start working. I don't need to call them, ask them for more information, ask them for more thing. This can be even just making sure that you put videos of like, hey, this is how you do this. This is how you do this. Because to me, the best type of SaaS that you can have is like it runs by itself. No one emails you, no one messages you, nothing. So as much as information that you can put or remove barriers, the best. And coming to stickiness, as long as you're solving the problems that they have, like I have a couple of agencies that are using my integration for their clients. They have like 50, 20, 100 clients. And they've been using it for the last year. The only time that I receive email from them with that amount of user is like, hey, can we add this feature or is this possible? Which that's an added value to my product. You're basically getting free feedback in stuff like someone calling you is like, hey, why my leads are not coming this month? Why the lead flow is lower? Which is boom, boom, every time calling. So that shows you the stickiness. Like they're not even thinking of removing or replacing it because it's already integrated with their business. Like how many clients you guys like go and prospects you go and talk to and it's like, hey, can we replace your platform with this, which is cheaper and much better? And they all gonna say yes. Very, very like I would say close to zero because it's already integrated and they know it is working. So
And it's
once you have that seamless integration, then you swing. It is going to be sticky because you know what problems they had, you're solving that, and it's not adding more headache or like more tools for them to learn, more things to learn. It's just a no-brainer for them.
so it's not about the price.
Honestly, when you the other thing that you want to look at when you think about software, the number of people and because the headache is going to be very low. Like you don't have overload. Like I can handle like two, three, 400 clients without getting new team members because the software is there. It is running on the cloud. The sign up form is there. Once they do that, automatically starts working. So when you think about that, yes, you can put it for 45, 97, 297, depending on the problem that you're solving. But when you think about like the number of subscription you get, and that you don't need to spend any time on any of those subscriptions. You don't need to have an account manager to go and check the ads and those kind of things. You don't need the human manpower. even if you put it for like 45, 97, you can skyrocket quickly.
Yeah,
It's all about the overload. Yeah.
yeah. I appreciate you sharing that. And there's so many different business models. And I remember, I would watch or listen to these episodes in the past. And I know I can't be the only one that you start pivoting your whole business model. Oh, this sounds like a great idea. Let me go this way.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
and
exactly. Yeah.
just just for our audience that's thinking about shutting their business down and going the route that Siva's going, but this is much easier, said than done. This is years of experience. This is strategy. This is commitment to the craft. This is under the code and everything. And I think the biggest thing here to keep in mind is just take this information to complement it, just like we're teaching you and sharing with you on how to help other businesses. Don't try to
Yeah.
make them pivot altogether. Just know, hey,
Yeah.
here's your sales machine. I want to attach your sales machine, your patient retention machine, your customer support retention machine. However you want to name it, bolt it on, and bolting it on with experts within our high level certified admin community is much easier than trying to hire someone from outside or someone that doesn't know what they're doing and claims to say they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Sivash, we are on fire, man. I mean, we went in
Yeah.
depth a little bit. I might get a little pushback on how techy we went, but hopefully those that are listening to
Sorry.
this are either in the gym lifting weights, they're running a marathon, or they have a long drive. But thank you for unpacking this with me. See, guys, for someone that is, they just don't know what direction they need to go with the market, with SaaS, with integrations, with features, with their offer. You've worked with a lot of people. Could you share some advice on how you do a checkup from the neck up? How do you get a pulse check of where you're at? How do you check your vitals for your business to determine if you need integrations or you just need to focus on a different range of motion, whether it's maybe retention or sales? How could you use those KPIs within high level or dashboards to do so?
Uh, I think there's a lot of things that you can track within the dashboard. One of my KPIs is basically as long as I don't get any emails overnight and stuff from my clients, everything is good. And it's just the emails from new sign up, new sign up, new sign up coming in. So that's a good vital always to check. And if it is slows down, it means something either broken or not working. So that is
It's a
very
very good
important.
point.
Uh,
If you know your
yeah,
numbers and you see slow in sign up, something might be disconnected.
yeah, it might be something disconnected. That had happened before. So definitely, which brings me to this. If you have any type of integration, whether with your dashboard or anything, always have some sort of notification. Uh, whether a notification that, hey, this is working, this is working, this is working. Because once you see those in your emails and once automatically you open up your email and you don't see them, it kind of hits that, okay, something is not working. And you don't want it to get to a point that your clients figure out, and then now you have to put a whole fire out. So that is extremely helpful to basically, specifically if you're doing technology integration and those kind of things, clouds can come down, one of your instances can shut off smooth silently without you noticing if you don't put notifications. So that is one of the main thing that we always check. Uh, Retention, I would say for my business, what I do is I have a typical touch point, email touch point with my clients, mostly asking like if there is a new feature or there's something that they want, which is actually a big win for me because I'm using their insight. I'm not in their business. And then I can make that another product and add it to the subscription list, which I've done before. And I know it is going to work because it's literally coming from the actual businesses that they are working with that software. So that has been a very good retention and also added value to the business. And the other thing, obviously, every business needs leads. Depending on how you're getting your leads, you want to always be on top of that, whether you're doing advertisement or you're doing any type of marketing. You definitely want to check those, check your numbers, check your offer. I've grown most of my integration by uh, simple word of mouth, or just literally the same thing that I've told you guys, like getting into those community of those platforms, see what they want and what they need, and see if I can build it, and just uh, put a YouTube video, show it to them. And those are the most sticky clients that I had, which they started bringing more clients as well. But again, depending on your business model, on how you actually prospecting, you definitely want to always check your ads. Because when I used to do advertisement first thing in the morning every day, just look at the high level numbers of like cost per lead and those kind of things, and the booking, because that can easily go off the back if you're not actually checking it every day.
Yeah. And I've seen, again, not everything is always controlled within high level. The APIs and these other integrations could also break on the origin side, on the other side.
Yes.
So it might sound a little obsessive or excessive to always be checking, but there are systems out there, there are processes. It's always good to have a guy like Siavash or the equivalent gal, in your circle, right? Organic friendships, again, respecting their time, but right, always learning and sharing how you can bring value to them and they can bring value to you and have an organic relationship. And I've always tried to do my best to try to be diverse in the circle that you have around you, because yes, paying for it is one way, but right, again, if
Yeah.
you don't know the right questions to ask, this stuff can get very
Yeah.
expensive very
Yeah.
quickly. Man, Sivash, thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for spending some time with our audience. I almost forgot we were live here, to
Thanks
be
for
honest.
having
We've
me.
been going all in there. I'm like, wait, was this a coaching session for me and you, or like to all of you right now tuned in, keep the questions coming. My one window went away, and we're streaming this on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Facebook. It's so hard to keep in touch, but let us know your questions below. And if you're not yet a high level user, these are the folks that you get to hang out with. These are the folks in our high level community that just pour into right adding more value and growing their business within our community too. Sivash, any closing remarks? Anything you'd want to share as we wrap this up?
uh I would say, I think going back to what you said, yeah, there's a lot of different business models and shiny objects. I come talk about integration. Someone comes about, hey, do webinar. Someone comes about to just pick one thing and stick with it, at least for see it through for 3 to 6 months, 90 days minimum. Then pivot it slowly. Because if you don't do it, you're always going to, because this is technology, things are happening like this now that we have the AI, it's going to be way faster, and you will see yourself chasing different things, and 1 year gone by and you don't know what you've done and why you're here, and you see people like, why I'm not getting results. Pick one thing that you know enough about it, build your system around it, give it at least 90 days, go all in one that thing. If it didn't work, then adjust, because you always need to see it through. There's always going to be a new thing. There's always going to be shiny objects.
Yeah. And on that note, as you become the expert in it day by day, you start to become obsessive over it a bit, and then you start to share with your customers. So definitely taking those
Yeah.
learnings, creating content, and keeping that newsletter going. You can never over communicate with customers, because if you don't communicate, someone else is going to take their ears and eyes
Yeah.
away from you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Sivash, man, thanks for hanging out with me, man. I really appreciate you.
Thank
It's
you.
been a pleasure.
Cheers,
To our
mate.
audience, thank you as well. More information in the links below. More folks like Sivash in the mix here. Help me give a high level warm thank you to Sivash, our first Australian to be high level certified, a familiar face, a great person to get to know. Thank you for tuning in. Until
Thank
next
you, man.
time.
Thank you. See you.